All right, so we're at it again. I hope you guys are doing well. Here we have a mandate for all private sector employers. New York City's Mayor de Blasio is enacting this. It comes effective December 27th. The reason I bring this up is the interesting part of things and how different states are kind of, and even to the point of the cities, are imposing certain mandates. And I'm curious to see how effective or ineffective those are going to be, and from an investment standpoint, how that would affect businesses, the businesses there, and the people that the number of people that can actually go and buy from these businesses, and how that impacts. As a small business owner, I'm always curious about that. As an investor, I'm also curious about that. So let's get into the article, kind of see the reasonings why, what's going on, and really what this mandate actually imposes. Let's see. Little cliff notes here. The mandate to go into effect December 27th. Applies to in-person employees who are in a workplace with other coworkers. So that's interesting. It seems as though it might not affect people that work from home. And it doesn't give unvaccinated employees the option to get tested regularly. Okay, so that's out now. I know that was another thing. I know Biden had something going on with that. So, and I know that's in, I think that's in some sort of court thing. And they identified 8 cases of the new variant as of the weekend, 7 in New York City. Now, New York's a huge area, so it's a very populated area, so you would expect them to be hit probably with just the amount of people they have. Same in California. I'm here in Florida. You would expect that kind of in Florida, Texas. These larger populated areas are more likely, because they have more people, to become in contact with somebody, with the, the 7 people of Kevin Bacon or something like that, right? It's similar to that, right? So let's get into this and see what's going on and see what this does and impacts, who this impacts, right? So New York City is imposing a mandate for all private sector employees as a preemptive measure to fight a surge of cases this winter. I'm wondering if their cases have actually spiked. I don't have that information, but maybe they have a surge going on right now. I know there's usually a surge in flus during the cold. I'm not sure how this actually plays out. Let's see. This mandate covers 184,000 businesses. Wow. And we're going to effect on December 27th. It doesn't give people that have not been given medicine the option to get tested regularly. Now I'm saying that because I don't want to get on YouTube's bad side, right? So we're just going to say it the way that they want us to say it, and now we'll just move on from there. To get tested regularly, they will have at least 1 dose by that date. The policy applies to in-person employees who are at a workplace with other coworkers. All right, we already kind of got the gist of that. City will publish the guidelines on December 15th for more information on implementation and enforcement. Okay, that's great. So they give you, let's see, they're going to give you the guidelines on December 15th. Like, they come out with policy. This is what frustrates me about things like this, and especially these kind of mandates that really impact your business. I know that, like, for us, being a small business owner, all these things impact your business. All these changes, regulations, rules, and mandates, right? Oh, I'm sorry, my ear kind of popped. And all these things, like, actually occur, and they impact things. So, is that somebody at my door? Who is it? Sorry, my daughter was at my door. So they publish these things, and look, it goes into effect December 27th, but they're publishing the guidelines they're not even giving you the guidelines until December 15th. Here it is, the 6th. So they're going to take 9 days to give you guidelines, which, in my opinion, if you're coming out with some sort of mandate like this, you should have the guidelines already set up. It should not be, oh, we're going to do this, figure out how we're going to do it in 10 days, and then, by the way, you have 12 days to implement what we just took 10 days to figure out. That doesn't make any sense. And it really puts a burden on those businesses. I mean, 184,000 businesses, how are they going to do that? What are they going to do? I mean, you can't even give your employees, 2 weeks notice there. I mean, you think about December 15th. I mean, you get the holidays, 10 days later. I mean, you're going to, I don't know, it's very quick. I understand they got to act quick, but I do find that that's really frustrating as a business owner. If I was a business owner in New York City, that would very much frustrate me. Let's see, you got, this is the new strain as a new factor. We get the colder weather, which is really going to create additional challenges with the Delta. We've got holiday gatherings. We in New York have decided to use a preemptive strike to really do something bold to stop the further growth of this and the dangers causing all of us. All right, so 8 people so far have this one. I have read that it's more mild. I'm not sure though, because obviously I don't think there's many people that have gotten it in comparison to the other strands. So it's a very interesting approach. And we'll see how it works out for him, right? This is after they say Biden was forced to halt his implementation and enforcement, but I guess the Commissioner of Health has the authority to issue a mandate like this to protect the public health, and his authority to do that has been upheld time and again. The trouble that the Biden administration has run into in court doesn't really apply here. I think I heard the same thing about Biden's being a ability to do it, but at the same time then got stopped. So who knows? I don't know whose opinion that was. It was the city corporation council, George Pastana. So he said that it doesn't really apply here. So we'll take him at his word for now because we don't know otherwise, but we'll see. So in addition, the city will require anyone 12 and older to show proof of 2 vaccines as opposed to 1 dose under the prior policy for indoor dining, fitness, entertainment, performance venues starting December 27th unless they receive the single dose from J&J. Children ages 5 to 11 will be required to show proof of a single dose by December 14th for those venues. They will also have to show proof of 1 dose for high-risk extracurricular activities such as sports, band, orchestra, and dance. Well, ain't that a bummer? Because, kids, that's how kids play. That's the only thing they do. So basically they need to have at least 1 proof of this to play in any of the sports, band, orchestra, or dance that they want to do. That's kind of a bummer for those kids. That stinks, especially when kids don't seem to have as big of a risk, not necessarily a risk of spreading, but necessarily a risk of getting really sick from it. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer for those kids. I feel really bad for them. Down here in Florida, everything is pretty open. We've been open the whole time now. People have their opinions on that. It is what it is. So, and I'm not meaning to look down. My camera is up high. My computer is here, and I can't really get them to sync up. Sorry if that makes it weird for you guys. But let's see. Blasio went on. He said, we cannot let those restrictions come back. We cannot have shutdowns here in New York. We've got to keep moving forward. They work, and so the mandates. That's the bottom line. So we'll see. I'm sure the interesting thing is you don't really see too many studies about that. Here in Florida, we don't have any of those, and it seems to work too. So I'm not sure what work versus what doesn't work matter. I guess it depends on your goal. See, that's where it gets tricky. It works, but what's your goal? Is your goal for businesses to close down, lose revenue, lose money, fire employees, lay people off, go out of business, the mental health issues that come across from being stuck inside? I don't know. I don't really know those versus not doing any of that and seeing how that plays out as well. From an investment standpoint, this is very interesting. From a small business perspective, it's very interesting as well. I really don't have an opinion on it either way. I don't have the data or research to know, and nor do I have the truthful research to even know what is or is not real and what does actually help and doesn't help, right? I don't know. I have to question every piece of information that I get, and unfortunately, you don't get a lot of good information nowadays. That's just the sad, unfortunate fact. I feel like there's a market for good, solid news and journalism, but we'll see if one day we get that. Let's see. New York City already has a high rate at 77% receiving at least 1 dose, and they identified 8 cases of the new strand. I'm sorry to say you can expect community spread. We have to assume it's going to be widespread. We have to assume it's going to give us a real challenge. I guess it's weird if you got 70s, almost 80%. I would only expect you to have 23% of widespread, but who knows? We've been to this movie before. We've been down this road before. We know what happens when we get a new strand, particularly one that's highly transmittable. We're not going to back into what happened in 2020. Their cases are increasing in New York with more than 1,500 new cases confirmed daily. Wow, that's a lot. We've seen the case numbers grow in recent weeks due to the Delta, the devil, we know. They have been more than doubled since recent low point in early November, increasing every borough at every age group. This is always so interesting to me, and this is what also confuses me. And I don't know if anybody else is confused by this too, but they've more than doubled since this point. And what did they say? We've seen the cases grow in recent weeks due to the Delta. But I was told, and I've heard, they can't even test for the Delta. We have the Alpha variant, the Alpha one. They can test for that. But you test a positive, they just say it's the Delta because they don't know if it's the Alpha or the Delta because they have no differentiating test to say, oh, it's this one, this one, this one, or this one. I think it's not until afterwards they know that it's that one. But it's so very, very confusing. You can just confirm that it's this one. But then now you know it's this new one, and I don't know how you know it's the new one either. It's like I said, there's so many sources out there of information and misinformation that you don't know which one is giving you the real data and real truth. So, anyways, public health officials are worried about the surge in cases this winter from the Delta. They were also concerned about the new variant could spike in cases. The WHO said last week that it is more contagious than past variants, though more information is needed. So once again, these guys are the head of all of this, and they have no idea, basically, kind of how that reads to me. So that to me is interesting because what you do see a lot in these markets, if we go over here, this is the reason why this is interesting to me, right? So their strategy and approach is to lock down. We're going to see how everything else goes. But if you look here, I mean, the S&P, all these are up. I mean, the Dow Jones is up 700 points today. I mean, it's kind of wild. So you're really looking at a lot of, how do I say it? You're looking at a lot of interesting things that can occur investment-wise, and how each state approaches this could be what determines whether the markets react or overreact or underreact to the news. And you genuinely don't know. So this is why I study. This is why I look at this stuff. This is why I kind of pay attention to it. It's not to make an opinion one way or another. What works, what doesn't work. I really don't know what doesn't work. I can just tell you based on how it is here in Florida, how I feel it works in Florida versus how it works in other places that I'm not aware of, right? But you let me know. How does it work in your state? How does it work in my state? We're doing pretty good down here in Florida. I'm a younger kind of guy, and our business is open. Most every business I go to is open. I don't think anybody's worn masks or anything in a long, long time. I mean, we did have a surge, but a lot of people kind of stayed in their lane, extra sanitizer. Stayed in your, general kind of area, did your minimal stuff, get your grocery store, go to the beach, go to the playground, things like that. And then cases went down. We all went back doing everything we wanted to do, right? It's just at Legoland, nobody was wearing any masks there. We were all over the place. My family and I, we go everywhere. So it doesn't seem to be, it seems to be interesting to see how the approach is with every state and how different it is. And it's going to be interesting to see how in the long run, 10 years from now, this all plays out and what actually was the right course of measure, since when you're live, it's hard to tell. But that being said, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out in the markets, how they react to how things are going, how they react to New York and businesses in New York, how they react in terms of New York businesses being able to hire people, being able to employ people. Does that mean they let some of their unvaccinated people stay home more, or how this all works? It's going to be very interesting, and to see who follows, right? To see if California and Oregon and Washington and some of those states with the similar mindsets follow versus other states like Texas, Alabama, Florida that seem to have a different approach and strategy. And it'll be really interesting to see how all of these states and this interlinks and intermingles together and see what the right answer is. I'm curious about the puzzle. I'm curious to see what you think about the puzzle. But with that being said, this is long enough for this video, long enough for talking about this stuff. Hope you all have a great day. I'll probably get one more video out later today, but we'll see how things go in the news.